look what I found for a stool for my video. There's only one thing that's not perfect about it right now, but look at this. It's a little duck chair. But it's got some rainwater on it, which I'm going to have to sop up with my jacket because it's too good to pass up. So this is where this video will be filmed. Let's see how it goes. Good morning, BookTube. It's Sean the Book Maniac. Welcome back to my channel. Just as I was getting set up to make this video in this new location, the construction started up right across the street from me. But every time I worry about noise being an issue, when I get home and play it, the microphone picks everything up and doesn't pick up the background noise very much. So we'll give it a shot. But I'm sitting on my new little duck chair with my hot coffee from the vending machine, and I wanted to do a kind of a response video or contribute to this discussion that's going around BookTube about book fatigue or BookTube burnout. So the discussion was started by Mercedes over at Mercy's Bookish Musings, and then further contributions. The very next video that I saw was by Steve Donahue, and then two more yesterday, Jennifer at Insert Literary Pun Here, and then Alina at Tall Tales, and then another video by Steve just this morning Tokyo time. So I have some thoughts as a very new booktuber, so I'm not suffering from any kind of bookish fatigue of any kind right now. I have had book burnout or reading slumps in the past, and I'll probably talk about those in this video, but I don't have any kind of booktube related fatigue. So maybe my perspective might be a useful contribution to the discussion or completely superfluous, as per usual. I'm basically talking to myself in this video in the hopes that perhaps some of what I have to say might be interesting or useful or relevant to other people, but if it's not, just ignore me as you usually do. The main thing that, well, let me first talk about Steve's whipping boy is Goodreads, and I found his comments so interesting, but I just don't have any of those issues with Goodreads. For me, rating a book is no big deal, and I don't pay attention to other people's ratings. I pay attention, well, I mean, I do. If a novel has consistently low ratings, I'm less likely to pick it up, but I'm more interested in what my friends whose reading tastes I share have to say about it, what their reviews are and their ratings. But as a number on the scale of 1 to 5, I wish it was at least a 10 scale, but I see the benefit of rating it. But if you're only going to rate a book and not comment, not do a review, that I think is, I would agree with Steve to that degree. But I don't get too hung up on assigning ratings, and I don't feel that it constrains my reading life in any way, the ratings game. But for me, it's very simple. So this is my personal 5-star rating criteria. If I loved it, even if there were things that were flaws, if I loved it, it was 5 stars. If I loved it but it had flaws I couldn't overlook, or if I liked it, it's 4 stars. And then 3 stars, I didn't really like it, 2 stars, I didn't like it, and 1 star, I hated it. So that's pretty easy for me. There's no confusion or anxiety about assigning a rating, because that's a very simple system. It works very well for me. I do sometimes go back 6 months later or a year later and usually downgrade rather than upgrade a star rating because it hasn't sat well with me over time. And then I kind of add another comment at the top of my review to say why. I did that recently with Margaret Atwood's Hagseed, where the more I sat with it, the more I thought about it. I thought it was pretty mediocre, unremarkable piece of fiction. Sorry, Steve. Have to get you back. but that's it. So for me, Goodreads doesn't have any negative effect or really even positive effect on my reading life. It's a database and kind of a place to network with, usually with friends that I've met elsewhere, like Litzy or now on BookTube. I've made a few bookish friends specifically on Goodreads, but primarily other people I meet elsewhere in bookish social media. We start following or being friends on Goodreads, and that's interesting. But the main point that I want to make today is, maybe I'll title this video "In Praise of Bailing," because to me and it's not advice unless it works for you. Then think of it as Sean the Book Maniac giving you advice, but really I'm talking to myself. And certainly speaking only for myself, but to me the answer to all of these issues that are being talked about is bail more, bail often. I think maybe not. I was going to say we can all agree, but that's probably too much of an exaggeration. But most of us can agree that when you're reading a book that you're not enjoying, you slow down. And to me, nothing puts me into a book slump more than when I'm reading a book that I'm not enjoying. And because I'm not enjoying it, I don't pick it up. And then a week goes by and I haven't picked it up, so I'm not reading anything. So I dealt with all that a couple of years ago, after I came out of a major book slump. And at the slightest hint of boredom or any kind of a negative feeling, I bail. And it is, for me, and I know this is a controversial topic among readers, so here I am being controversial, but for me it's the single greatest thing about my reading life in the last 2 years is that I bail. Well, as Steve said in his latest video, quoting some science fiction, I didn't get the reference. I'd love to know what the exact quote or who said it, Steve, but the quote was 90% of what's published is absolute crap. And I don't know about 90%, but I'd say at least more than half of what's published is terrible. And that's a personal thing. That's my taste. So everybody has different tastes. But I think for any of us, whatever our taste in books, we're going to find that about half or more of what we try isn't to our liking. So I don't waste my time. And at my most ruthless, I bail on a book as soon as I realize that it's not going to be at least a 4-star read. And again, using my system, a book that I liked or that I loved with flaws. So that's a 4-star for me. And if I think it's going to be any less than that, I bail. As soon as I realize it's going to be less than that, it's done, because life's too short, and part of that's my age. Like, what's that saying? Life's too short to drink bad coffee. Well, life's too short to read crappy books or books that I'm not enjoying for any reason whatsoever. So that frees up a lot of reading energy for me, because I eventually find my way to my 4- and 5-star reads, books that I like or love. So I can't recommend it highly enough, but I know for a lot of people there's an ingrained sense of I must finish whatever book I start. So suit yourself. But I think if people that don't bail, that are having a reading slump or readers fatigue, try it. See what happens. Now, for me, I also would challenge myself to go back and read books, try books again that I have bailed on in the past, because maybe it was just a case of the wrong book at the wrong book at the wrong time. So I would like to do that, and it's kind of a personal challenge to myself in 2018 to try at least 3 books that I've bailed on in the past to see if I might like them. But do I regret bailing on them in the past? No. My God, Do I have anything more to say about bailing? Well, I'm an extreme bailer. I'm the queen of bailing. So last night I bailed on my 104th book in 2017. It's delightful. I've read not many more than that to completion in 2017, but I've bailed on more than 100 books. Now, I guess some of the practical issues around bailing, the cost of books, some people have made comments, and I understand that, but whoops, I just kicked the tripod. Sorry about that. But that's what libraries are for, right? And Kindle Preview, free preview, subscription services like Scribd. I don't know if there's any others out there like Scribd, but Scribd is wonderful. You can do free previews on there, and you pay your monthly membership, and you can use it for 4 books a month, and if you don't use those 4 credits, they roll over to a maximum of 12 credits before you start losing them. So that's a wonderful way to save cost if you're thinking about bailing. Also, the audio app TuneIn Premium, there's no monthly limit or anything like Audible has, so you can bail on audiobooks with no negative feel, where you don't feel like you've wasted your money or a monthly credit. But for me, I don't care how much it costs. I'm not going to read books that I don't like or love, unless there's some other reason to read it, right? Now, I finished a short novel this week that I hated, and I did finish it because I wanted to skewer it in a review, and that was fun. So sometimes you have a reason to do it, but keep things, I guess the larger point to move to step back from bailing, and the larger thing is move away from anything external that makes reading feel like work or like school, and including BookTube. I was interested in Alina's stuff around the pressure that booktubers put on themselves, and I don't feel very much of that. Now, maybe a little bit, but not very much because I'm so new. But one BookTube custom that I quickly dispensed with, I only did it the first month that I was, after I joined or whatever, is TBRs. It just coincided with where I found myself as a reader anyway. I'm done with TBRs. I'm not going to do them anymore because I just want to be more spontaneous. So I won't ever do another TBR. Well, don't say never, but that's one thing I got rid of. I am questioning whether I want to do monthly wrap-ups, and book hauls I think are fun, but monthly wrap-ups, might just sort of do Friday reads that are more comprehensive, kind of like Brita Bowler does. Is that going to keep my reading life energized? I don't know, but I just think anything that feels like external pressure, just get rid of it. It was very liberating for me to bail on Nonfiction November this month, and probably I'm not going to do very many of those things because I don't want to. I want to read what I want to read when I want to read it. So I'll read nonfiction in December. Yeah, reading challenges. I've done 2 years of reading challenges. It was very valuable for me because it exposed me to a lot of other genres and things, to realize that I don't like other genres and things, but it was a good experience. And now I'm done. I'm not going to, not comprehensive 12 books or 24 books in a year reading challenges. I might do short-term ones if they resonate with where I'm at that particular moment, and I may bail, like I did with Nonfiction Novexit. So I guess other things that I haven't tried, but if you feel like you're burning yourself out with reading for whatever reason, like, is there some kind of volunteer work that you can do about reading to the blind, or reading to children, being a volunteer at Story Hour somewhere, anything that might just connect you at that gut level with the primal love of reading, try anything. If you have never tried an audiobook, try an audiobook. If you think you don't like, this is Sean talking to Sean, if you think you hate mystery novels, try a mystery novel at least once a year. Just shake things up and keep things fresh and resist pressure, including resisting pressure to bail. If you don't want to bail, don't bail. But I guess that's all I have to say. It's a fascinating topic, but I also think it's not very important, and this is just on an existential level. Like, if you need to take a break from BookTube, take a break from BookTube. If it's, lots of people leave and come back, so leave and come back. Take a break from reading. Why not? Take up knitting. Somebody said, was it Alina? Discover a new hobby. You'll probably, if you're a natural reader like I think all of the video posters are, you'll come back to it. But you'll come back to it fresh. Like, I stopped reading really for 2 or 3 years very recently. And then I came back with a vengeance, and maybe I'll to have another 2-year hiatus. Who cares? It doesn't matter, right? Just keep your life fresh and beautiful. Those are my 3 yen worth of contribution to this discussion. So thanks for letting me share.